Okay, so here we are in our week on chain 44 dashboard, and we're going to start with a bit of a view on how Bitcoin and Ethereum have performed relative to gold. So this first chart is looking at in gold terms. So essentially gold is the denominator, no longer USD, for Ethereum in blue and Bitcoin in orange, essentially indexed to the 1st of January. So really, this is the outperformance of Bitcoin and Ethereum relative to the gold price. Now we can see that Bitcoin got up to 90% plus in terms of relative performance. So it's had an extremely strong year. It has almost essentially doubled its purchasing power in gold terms. Ethereum, on the other hand, has had a very strong year, got to about 40%. But as you can see, quite a significant and meaningful delta, which is also starting to expand. This is kind of that first indication. We're going to really step through this from a few levels. But this is kind of one of those many ways we can measure Bitcoin dominance as really growing. When we look at the actual relative gauging, Bitcoin is outperforming gold to a significant extent. But and whilst Ethereum is having a good year versus traditional assets, it is not having a great year versus BTC. Now, what we've done here is take that same chart, but look at it on a rolling 30-day change. So essentially looking at what do the periods of growth or decline look like in these different assets. So again, we've got Bitcoin in orange, we've got Ethereum in blue, and in the white curve here, we have the gold price or the gold percent change. Now, what we can see is that let's just start with the downturns. When we actually get periods, because obviously markets don't move up or down in a straight line. So we get these periods of down, even though we've had a fairly strong year. And we can see that Ethereum and Bitcoin are actually seeing very, very similar declines to the downside. So in terms of the actual downside moves, very, very similar in magnitude. But notice to the upside, Bitcoin is actually outperforming Ethereum pretty much every time we have a significant rally. So what we're really seeing is that Bitcoin is putting in more work to the upside and having essentially the same, it's kind of like a broader digital asset downturn. So what we're really seeing is that Bitcoin is outperforming on the upside and roughly equal on the downside. Now, what we can also see is with gold oscillating through here, the amplitude of these moves is substantially smaller. Of course, this is often what gold is looked at for. It's that kind of longer term wealth preservation type asset. But you really can see that the outperformance of Bitcoin is quite stark. It is strong relative to Ethereum, and Ethereum is relatively strong to Bitcoin, which means Bitcoin is doing substantially better than gold. So just another way to really visualize this. And of course, in the current macro environment, this is going to be catching eyes of fund managers and investors and people who are really looking at Bitcoin's performance, given the uncertainty of the world at the moment, potentially with a fresh set of eyes, which is obviously exciting.